What is up, guys? Dzeeff here. If you remember, about a month ago, I talked about the OCG's new Lost Sanctuary structure deck. This is a remake of the original Lost Sanctuary structure deck from a while ago. That was the Agent structure deck. And the first three cards they revealed were pretty good. Master Flare Hyperion was a brand new synchro monster with an excellent Foolish Burial effect and a sweet interruption effect that allows you to banish a card on the field. Majesty Hyperion was interesting. I was a bit skeptical about it, but it did show promise, and the Agent of Life Neptune was a pretty good revival card, and it was a way to search the Sanctuary in the Sky pretty easily. But off of only those three cards, it was pretty hard to determine how competitive this deck would really be. Since then, though, Konami has revealed a lot of the new cards and reprints in this structure deck. We got 3 new cards revealed a few weeks ago, and just today we had 2 more new cards revealed as well. Now, I don't know if these are going to be the only new cards in the structure deck. I mean, there are 8 revealed already, so that does seem like a lot, but at the very least, we now know a lot about this structure deck, and in my opinion, and I think you guys will agree after seeing these cards, it seems like Konami really wants this deck to be playable. They really want it to be competitive. There's nothing wrong with more casual structure decks. Obviously, the Charmer structure deck was pretty casual, and the Cyber style structure deck was pretty casual, but it's nice to see a collection of cards that look like they're designed to be played at tournaments. These new Agent cards are great, and I think you guys will agree. So without further ado, let's take a look at the 5 new cards. I'll start with the 3 cards revealed a few weeks ago that I hadn't gotten a chance to talk about. So we have Guard of the Agent's Moon, a Link 2 Light Fairy effect monster with 1800 attack. This card takes 2 fairy monsters to summon, and it says you can only use the 1 and 2 effects of this card's name once per turn each, which is basically how they write their hard once per turns. If this card is link summoned, you can send 1 the Sanctuary in the Sky or 1 card that specifically lists that card in its text from your deck to the graveyard, or if the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in the graveyard, you can add 1 the Agent of Mystery Earth from your deck or graveyard to your hand instead. You can tribute 1 fairy monster, then target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. Those are 2 crazy good effects. The Foolish Burial is good just in general, but the ability to add the Agent of Mystery Earth instead if you have the Sanctuary in the Sky on the board or in your graveyard is absolutely insane. The Destroying effect is pretty good as well, so I think Guard of the Agent's Moon is a great Link 2, and it was very surprising to see a Link 2 in this structure deck, but it's a very good card, and I think it's going to be a great addition to every Agent deck. And then they finally are making a Pluto card. This was a huge reveal. I wasn't sure if they were going to do this, and I think they did it in a very interesting way. So this card is not Agent by name, but it has text on it that says it's always treated as a The Agent card, which I think is a really cool and unique way to put the Pluto planet or not planet debate on an actual Yu-Gi-Oh card. So Pluto is a level 5 Dark Fairy Synchro Tuner monster with 2300 attack and 0 defense. It takes 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner monsters, so it's completely generic. And this card says, as I already mentioned, this card is always treated as a The Agent card, and also the 2 effect is a hard once per turn. The first effect is once per turn you can banish 1 monster from your graveyard, then target 1 effect monster on the field, change it to face down defense position. This is a quick effect if the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in the graveyard. Yet another card that says or in the graveyard for the Sanctuary in the Sky, which personally I think is a great addition to these card effects. The second effect, which is the hard once per turn, says you can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 the Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So it really seems like Konami knows the Sanctuary in the Sky is a pretty bad card and you wouldn't want to play more than 1 copy of it. Neptune was a way to search it out pretty easily, and now we have a way to add it back from our graveyard to our hand. So I think that Pluto will be a great addition to a lot of players' extra decks. I think it will be a staple card in every Agent deck, right alongside Moon and the new Hyperion Synchro. Finally, we had a new spell card, and this card is a big deal. People have wanted a card like this for a very long time. The Sacred Water of the Sky is a normal spell card that has 2 hard once per turn effects. The first effect says activate 1 the Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck, or add 1 monster that specifically lists that card in its text from your deck to your hand. Then, if the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in the graveyard, you can gain 500 life points for each Hyperion and the agent monster you control. So that is a Rhoda for pretty much all of your agent and Hyperion monsters, which is obviously great, and it could help you win in time as well, which obviously isn't a big deal, but it could come up, so it's worth mentioning. The second effect says if your monster or monsters that specifically list the Sanctuary in the Sky in its text would be destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. Not the craziest effect, but I think it's important to remember that even if this card only had that search effect, it would already be played, so the graveyard effect is simply a bonus. This card is crazy good. It's going to be a 3 of in every agent deck. This is when I realized that Konami really wanted agents to be playable again, and it maybe even pushes them to be borderline broken, perhaps? I don't know. Agents were a big deck almost 10 years ago. They won Worlds, they topped a whole bunch, and it was a big fan favorite strategy. It was also an excellent budget deck for a lot of players, myself included. So it would be cool to see agents at the top tables once again, and I think that these new cards really make that happen. But we do still have 2 new cards to talk about. These 2 were revealed just today, so let's take a look at what they do. Chorus in the Sky is a normal spell that says you can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. Pay 1,000 life points, then target 1 fairy monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, then if the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in a graveyard, you can add 1 of your banished the Sanctuary in the Sky or cards that list that card in their text to your hand. So if you don't have the Sanctuary in the Sky on the board, this just adds back a fairy monster in your graveyard to your hand, which is already pretty good. But if you do have the Sanctuary in the Sky, you also get to add another card, but this time it's from the banished pile, and it has to specifically be the Sanctuary in the Sky, which you'll probably never want to add, or a card that lists that, which would be pretty good. This deck already has a bunch of ways to banish cards in your graveyard, so Chorus in the Sky could be a good way to add them back to your hand. As you can see, Konami really is pushing the idea of wanting people to play the Sanctuary in the Sky. I really hoped they were going to get a retrain for this card, but it looks like that might not happen. But still, these cards really do make me want to play at least 1 copy of Sanctuary in my agent deck, because they do seem to really have some great payoffs if you have it on the board. Finally, we have Lost Sanctuary, a new continuous trap. This card says you can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. You can only use the 3 effect of this card's name once per turn. When this card resolves, you can set 1 the Sanctuary in the Sky or 1 spell or trap that lists that card in its text directly from your deck to your field. This card's name becomes the Sanctuary in the Sky while face up on the field or in the graveyard, which obviously is a big deal. And finally, the hard once per turn effect is you can banish 1 fairy monster from your graveyard, then target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. Holy crap, these cards are so good. I mean, Lost Sanctuary is a great continuous trap card that will provide a ton of negation while also giving you a bit of advantage by setting a spell or trap card that lists the Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck to your field, or you could set the actual Sanctuary if you don't have access to that card at that point. So you guys can kind of see where I was coming from. Konami really wants agents to be a good deck again. I would say that Majesty Hyperion is the only real miss out of all 8 of these new cards. I really think that 7 of them are pretty much guaranteed to see play in a new agent deck. So I can't wait to see what players come up with these new cards, and I can't wait to try out agents myself when these cards are released in the TCG. Anyway though, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I'll see you later. Goodbye.